When you make the shift from victim to observer in your illness, that's when you really start healing. What do I mean by that? Observing your illness is starting to observe the symptoms you're experiencing and finding the correlations between what you were doing and the symptoms. It's starting to become the observer from outside of the illness. So you're now not looking at the symptoms and immediately triggered impulsively to have this emotional response. The storyline kicks in. All of a sudden, oh no, here we are again. What are these symptoms caused by? I don't know. I need to Google. I need to do this. And when's this ever going to end? And that story kicks in. And guess what? Now the symptoms get worse because you've observed the symptoms. You let the storyline kick in. Okay. Instead, you got to become the observer. Okay. You got to look at the symptoms. You got to look at them and say, okay, and write them down. Write down your food you're eating. Write down what you're taking. Simplify it. Don't take 17 supplements. Start with 0. Don't eat 10 ingredients in each meal. Start with 3. Okay? And start writing down what you're eating and how you're feeling, what you're taking and how you're feeling. Then you will start to become the observer of how your actions are affecting your symptoms. And you'll stop relying on the doctors. I am so sick of relying on the doctors. I did that for, God knows, hundreds of times. I went to doctors, hundreds and hundreds of times. And I made maybe 2 of the doctors out of 170 were worthwhile, that were helpful. And even then, they weren't really helpful. They just gave me clues along the way, So you have to shift to become the observer. If you're not willing to observe how your actions or the things that you're doing, the supplements you're taking, the foods you're eating, the thoughts you're thinking, the actions that you're taking, the beliefs that you're having, if you're not willing to observe how those things are affecting your health, then you're always going to be reliant upon a medical professional, and you're always going to be reliant upon the next supplement or medication to mask your symptoms, okay? So you can't be the person that is caught in the illness and believing in the illness and, oh, this thing, and oh my God, and it's just this horrible thing, and these symptoms, they pop up, and it means that I'm going to be sick forever. No, you have to shift from observer and start documenting these things on a piece of paper. Be willing to observe closely and write the stuff down. Look for the correlations. If you don't know what foods to start with the fruits, vegetables, rice, potatoes, beans, lentils, oil, salt. Start there. That's going to be the safest bet no matter what you're doing right now. If you're eating all meat, which a lot of people are doing, which is insane, then gradually reduce the meat as you gradually increase the plants so you can tolerate more and more plants. That's the key. That is the key. So you have to become the observer of your illness. Otherwise, you're never going to see the correlations behind what you're doing, what you're taking, and how you're feeling. The only way out of illness is becoming the observer, seeing the symptoms from outside yourself, making the correlations, and then starting to connect the dots and making the right decisions over and over again. That's how you beat a complex chronic illnesses. People call me and they've been to 150 doctors and they don't know what to do. And they don't know what direction to go. The only way I'm able to help them is through this process of becoming the observer of everything they're doing and how it's affecting how they're feeling. And then I teach them how to become the observer themselves. And guess what? They never lose that. They never lose it once they stop working with me, because now it's imprinted into their brain. Now they know what works and what doesn't work, what they should do and what they shouldn't do to stay healthy, to feel well. And that's why becoming the observer is a cumulative benefit. There's a cumulative benefit when you're simply just reacting to the symptoms and taking the next medication and going to see the next doctor. It's just desperation, fear, hope. There's no actual concrete foundation that you could go back to, like what you get from becoming the observer. So go to my website, endsickness.org. I have hundreds of articles, hundreds of videos on there teaching you how to heal yourself. Take care.